Alright, hello everyone, this is Smuggernaut, and today I'm going over two separate Cleric builds, specifically for P81. First build is going to be a new player build for someone that doesn't have really high level or end game gear. All the buffs that you see are going to be focused on a little bit of survivability, and then also how to sneak damage in here and there. And for the majority of the items, you're going to be able to level up things in the game and not have to have like some cool special weapon. So the majority of the things that you're going to see are based on like the Fragment of Courage, which is the Cleric starting weapon, or the Broken Shield, which you can level up into, I believe that's a warrior version, but it still is a shield that you can level up to get 4 slots. The helmet, which ends up being the Bearer of the Seventh Sun, which also has 4 slots. The Celestial Scintillations, which is the accessory that boosts magic attack, that has 4 slots. So, if you're noticing the trend, you can get good gear that has good stats, that allows you to have 4 open buff slots, just from leveling up and awakening the basic Cleric gear. So let me go into this build a little bit and show you what to expect. So first off, my weapon is going to be a little bit different than yours because I'm using an event weapon. The Power Virtue increases my damage against demons and undead, but if you just ignore that, this weapon build is the exact same. So it currently has Demon Punisher, Stun Crusher, and Brute Buster. The Brute Buster increases your damage against all large enemies, period. It's great to have if you're going to be fighting something big. Stun Crusher increases your damage against any enemy that's stunned. So if you use Holy Balls, if you get level 3 from playing, I think it's 30 death missions, then it has 4 Holy Balls that go around you, and they continuously damage and apply stun to enemies. Smaller enemies will be stunned immediately, and you can see a huge damage increase. So you don't need like a specific kill goblins. All you have to do is walk right up to them like you're gonna give them a hug or a kiss, and then use the skill. Like, don't be afraid to get all the way up in their face and then use Holy Balls. Bosses, it's gonna take 2 or 3 or 4 casts to stun them. The Greater Demon typically takes 2-ish. You can sometimes get it in 2, sometimes in 3. But again, the skill itself will stun the enemy. So it stuns them while the Holy Balls are spinning around, and each of the additional Holy Balls that hits them is damaging them for a huge bonus. Demon Punisher is self-explanatory. Gonna make the various bosses, like the first demon, the second one, and the third one on 82, 98, and 100 basically killable. Like, you as the Cleric with this build can solo the boss. You can have 4 people in the party with you and just go in and wreck face. I've actually carried people through at Prestige 1, like level 42 Cleric, because of this combination. And again, the Power Virtue is specific to this weapon that I have, but if you don't have that, put on Stun Duration, level 2. Because the stun doesn't last very long. So when you're damaging enemies and you're trying to apply the skill, and then it finally applies and you stunned it, it'll give you a chance to throw another spear, or get a couple of whacks in, or potentially even use Holy Balls a second time, depending on if you have AP or not. So the next item is our shield. Again, this is the Cleric version of the starter shield, and it's just awoken. I didn't max it out all the way because I don't defend a whole lot with it, and I find defending is effective even with a lower quality shield. But I have my Cleric built for magic attack, and Holy Balls is greatly dependent on your magic attack to do damage. So your normal attack button, X, isn't really going to be doing a lot for you throughout the dungeon. It's mostly going to be waiting for one of your skills to be off cooldown to cast it. And again, this is more of a support Cleric that can do DPS, but can also heal your party members, stun enemies, buff. So having this shield gives us the opportunity to do more damage and also take a couple hits. Parameter boost increases all your stats by, I think it's 500. So both attacks, both defenses, and shield defense. Elemental damage down 3 isn't useful against the Greater Demon or the other demons because I don't believe they have an element. The Greater Demon might. I haven't checked. If he does, he's fire. But all the rest of the enemies leading up to it are going to hit you with some kind of elemental damage, and so that just reduces it a little bit. And if you're really hurting for health, you could put on HP level 9 because it gives you a higher amount. But HP and AP limit is my go-to. It helps you with the spell casting, it helps with any kind of attacks you're doing. Basically, you're going to be spamming skills the whole time. So having a split stat that gives you max health and max AP is just my preference. Next up is the Kasaya +2. Again, this goes along with one of the other boss drops, Amulet of Virtue, which decreases damage from, it says undead demons. I don't know if it's supposed to be undead demons. But if you don't have that buff, you can put a lot of different things in that slot. So let's start with what I have here. HP and AP, again, is awesome. Demon Protection is going to greatly reduce the damage you take from demons. Brute Protection is the same thing. It stacks with Demon Protection, so it really minimizes how hard you get hit from big enemies. And for the 4th slot, you could put a magic attack up level 9, or whatever strength of magic attack up you have. You could put, instead of HP and AP as a single buff, you could put 1 HP and 1 AP. Although it's generally preferred on chest pieces to put defensive oriented buffs because it's the only place you can get like brute protection, demon protection, human protection. So the other buff that I would put would be human protection at the highest level that you have. Personally, the floor that has a bunch of humans that spawn with the demon right before the end floor 97, can be one of the more challenging places for me. Mostly because there is a wind element enemy and I have lightning armor, so I am very weak to that particular enemy and he hits like a truck. Now for your helmet, again, this is the Cleric beginner helmet and it's awoken a couple times. This is just a really, it's a helmet that's oriented towards you and casting skills with the conserve AP and AP recovery up. But it also helps out your teammates with the conserve rage and rage power up technically as well. So if you and everyone else that you're playing with has conserve rage, when your rage counter starts to decay, either when someone gets smacked or you stop attacking, it's going to keep it higher for a lot longer. So you're going to get the benefit of increased attack power for everyone a lot longer. You could switch out rage power up level 2 or whatever strength you have for rage AP recovery, but fights don't always last that long. So by the time you get up all that rage and you use holy balls a couple times and you stunned and you know really bursted down a lot of enemies, you're probably not going to have AP recovery to that level for a long time. Again, you already have AP recovery 2 and conserve AP, so you're minimizing how much it costs by about 20%, and you're really increasing the base HP or AP recovery, so it might not be necessary to put the rage AP recovery as well. And let me just go into a little bit more details about this particular AP recovery up. Now, if you had the buff that says natural AP recovery speed increases. The name of it is AP recovery speed or AP speed up level 3. That's the same strength. So this is a better buff because it has natural AP recovery speed, meaning every time you're attacking anything and running around, moving, the base speed your AP goes up. And then it shortens the time before boosted AP recovery. So if you absolutely needed AP, just find a little corner and stand there for a second. your AP would increase and fill up faster because of this buff. So it's really nice to have both of those built into it. And again, it has the same strength as AP, I think it's called AP Speed, up level 3. Now, for your last piece, we have our accessory. This is one of the 2 starting items. You don't actually get it, you have to go into the rare metal shop and purchase it. But if you go all the way down to the bottom of the list and you slowly scroll up, it's the first keep that there is. You know what, let's just go find it, just to make extra sure I don't say the wrong thing. So the neutron star awakens into the celestial scintillations, and it gets 450 at the max awakening for both magic attack and magic defense. And the starting cleric gear is the fragment of courage, chipped shield, torn jacket, and chipped head. Those all awaken into a 4-slot item. So my particular celestial scintillations is built like this, and this is my preference again. Magic attack up level 9 for the extra bit of damage, a separate max HP and max AP, because both of those give you a much larger bonus when you have it individually than together, and then parameter boost level 8, which just pushes all of my other buffs a little bit higher, a little bit more defense and attack power and block strength. You could go with a more varied setup, like this particular one has magic attack and regular attack. It's more beneficial if you're throwing spears, because the way I understand it, spears take into account your magical and your physical attack, so it gives you a little bit more oomph when you're tossing spears like it's candy. But from the gameplay you'll see today, with all buffs and skills that you can get as a new player, I'm not really going to need to throw spears. I know I'm level 48, so that means my damage is a lot higher. And I have an extra buff in my weapon that increases the specific damage to demons and undead, but you're going to see a lot of enemies that it doesn't really matter. I'm able to defeat them without worrying too much. So that's it. Now for your tools, it's a good idea to always have a healing potion on. If you have a bunch of super healing potions, pop them on. If you want to put on hyper healing potions, you're welcome to, but they're more rare. So I really wouldn't recommend it. When you get in the habit of how to play this class, you're not going to need to rely on potions as much, but I do because I play my cleric very offensively. I don't play defensive at all. So it's still a good idea one way or the other. Magical Ether is an amazing item that you can get a ton of if you play through any of the boss battles, the events, where you just fight the one boss and there's the 9 chests afterwards if you beat him quick enough, because this allows you to completely fill your AP, and for a period of time after using it, your skills don't cost any AP. So it's like an emergency, oh I need to heal, or oh I need to get in one more cast of this ability and I don't have AP, use a Magical Ether. I like to use them frequently because I have almost 3,000 of them. That's why. Now for Resurrection on a Cleric, it's awesome to use the Resurrection skill if that's your preference, but I've always found that things like a person being too far away, or a wall, or something else stops you from being able to cast the skill on your teammates in the first place. And then when you finally can cast it on your teammates, it's a really long animation, so it's not always beneficial to wait for the Resurrection skill to cast, and then also has a long cooldown. So if you want to put that on your skill bar, you can, but really Fake Soma is all you need. Walk up to somebody, press whatever key that you want to hotkey it to, D-pad, and boom, they're off the ground. You then have to heal them because they're almost dead, but it still is much more viable in an actual fight. Last but not least, I usually keep on Brute Busters because, like I said before, I'm not going to be using them a lot, but it does help to have them when you need them. It's that extra oomph. The only thing is you got to make sure you're facing the enemy when you use them, or else you're not going to do any damage. And then you're going to be upset that you accidentally cast it next to the enemy instead of hitting the boss, which does happen to me quite often if I'm not being careful. Now for skills. These are all skills that you can get just from playing the game. A few of them are unlockable from the 31 to 45 weapons. For instance, Soothing Bullet is something that drops off of a weapon. You have to farm until you get it to drop in the lower levels of the B dungeon, or Infinite Dungeon, and then equip it for 1 round and you can unlock the skill. Soothing Bullet is very effective at healing people when they're not moving. It shoots out some healing bullets, as the name applies or implies, and they slightly home in. There's 3 of them, and they can definitely heal for a huge chunk, but they can also totally miss the person you're trying to heal, and they can also hit your minions and not heal your intended target instead. So, it's a cool skill. It's not easy to use in the middle of battle when you're trying to heal a couple of people and they just got knocked away from the boss, and then you healed behind them or in front of them or somewhere that's not helpful for them. Because of that, heal level 3 is probably going to be your go-to, or whatever healed power you have. It's really easy to use as long as you have line of sight and you're not too far away. Tap the A button once, you look at the little arrows popping up underneath people's names, you select your target and you press A again. Or you spam it furiously if you're trying to heal yourself, and then after about 1.5 seconds, you actually heal yourself and then you can use it again. Care Package is the only skill that is separate that you can't get from just playing the game. It's an insanity point skill. However, I put it on here to show you how it operates. It is a slightly offensive skill. It probably will be the first Cleric skill that you get if you really like playing as Cleric, because it lets you increase your offense, do a tiny bit of damage, and it also is a great team support skill. If you don't want to use, or you didn't have Care Package, an acceptable alternative for AP healing would be Aura. It's good at healing AP in a small area. It's bad at having a long cooldown. Alternately, you could go for more healing with Sanctuary, which is the same thing. It's kind of good healing for really between boss fights when you don't really need it that much, but it's nice to put it down in an area that you know a lot of people could benefit from it, and it lasts for a good while, although it has a long cooldown as well. So those are the other options for the third A button skill. Now as far as B button skills, I personally will choose Dash because mobility helps out me the most, and it can help out other people too. You could change this up for Bless instead. Eventually, if you could play through the prologue, by the way, and beat it in less than 3 minutes and then unlock Dash level 3. That technically counts as a quest. If you go with a Shock Mage that has Goblin Killer on your weapon and Shock Crusher, you can finish up that level really fast, like in 1.5 minutes. You can also do Chapter 1-1, and as long as it's less than 3 minutes, you've just unlocked the powerful level 3 Dash. Instead, you could also put on Bless. Bless level 3 takes a while to get, so 2 is fine, or even 1 if that's all you have. A little bit more attack power does help, and there are a lot of valuable B button skills, so it's really up to you, your preference. I personally find Dash is better if I'm playing in a team, because people always like getting to the point that they want to get to faster, or running around enemies. It gives them more strategy options than just more attack power to do more damage to the thing that's already across the map, casting spells and killing them. Holy Ball will be your go-to damage dealing spell. It stuns enemies, it does good damage against demons and undead. It's awesome. Put it on, don't worry about it. To unlock Holy Balls level 3, you need 25 quests on Death difficulty or higher, which I believe the prologue also counts. FYI, when you're playing through the prologue, if you die, you get revived. And on the boss phase, where you fight 3 goblins, you have infinite spears. If you look at your D-pad, you'll see all 4 of them are spears. So just chuck them. Throw them at the boss. Throw them, throw them, throw them. The boss is dead. Congratulations, you beat it. As a bonus, you can also get a rare minion called Dizzy that gives you a lot more luck. The little four-leaf clover thing. Now, okay, so for the last skill, we have Seismic Fall. This is, I believe it's supposed to be a physical damage skill, but still hits really good because it has the ability to stun enemies, and it can hit the same enemy multiple times, even though it doesn't look like it always will. If you're really close to the enemy and you cast it, it hits kind of to the left and right of you and in front of you. So it's really good to use when there's a line of enemies kind of in front of you and one of them is about to hit you, then you can just stun them real quick. Seismic Fall. Boom. You get this from leveling up the base weapon, Fragment of Hope, and awakening it twice. Then you just equip that weapon and it teaches you Seismic Fall. Last but not least, Sacred Song. Sacred Song is great because it boosts everyone's defense and it has a fast cooldown. The cooldown isn't... It's a little bit longer than the length of this ability. It's really useful to start casting it right at the beginning of a boss room, join in as many people as are paying attention and willing to, and then use it. After you see the animation finishes, that's when the defense buff applies. Even if you're not actively still in the circle after you cast the skill because you get knocked out of it, the normal amount of time that passes by, like if it takes 3 seconds from the time you cast the skill to get the buff and you get knocked out of it the moment you start casting it, as long as you press the Y button, after that 3 seconds is up, you have the extra defense. And it has a fast cooldown, so it's a little bit of extra survivability for everyone, and it's incredible to use, especially in rooms that you know the enemy is going to do a lot of damage because they have a strong element that you're weak to. Okay, so that's the build for your actual class. Your minions got a lot of options, but since I'm boosting all of my magic attack as much as possible, that's what I've gone for in my minions. God of Spears, since my weapon is considered a spear, that increases both physical and magical damage by 10%, and you can farm those on levels 8.2 and 8.3. Power Transfer, it comes from the minion Poxy. I don't remember exactly where you can farm him, but it's a 5% bonus to your damage. And then Magical Bombs level 3 and 2 also drop from the Wan Zhang minions in in missions 8.2 and 8.3. Love Rodden's Rampage and 28 Seconds Later. Although I don't like 28 Seconds Later as much. Now, as far as I have Michael Andrew right now, who has the leader ability Demon Killer, he drops from mission 3.1. It's just a basic level buff that helps you do a little bit more damage to the enemies that are the strongest. Again, I have good buffs, I have a good weapon that has an additional damage modifier on it, so my damage is going to be higher against those enemies, but it's still beneficial. It's nice to have. You're going to notice the majority of the damage that I do comes from applying stun through holy balls, so I use it on cooldown. It seems like stun buildup slowly decays when you're not casting it regularly, so I cast it as much as I possibly can. If you want to damage something, that's what you have to do. Get up in their face, cast holy balls. Get up in their face, cast holy balls. Now he's flying around. I could move out of the way and cast defense. I usually don't because I go straight for him to try to kill him, but you have plenty of time to if you wanted to. Notice how he's stunned? I could attack him again and do a ton of damage, although I missed the opportunity. But that's how quickly stunned blocking so I don't get hit. And I use the holy balls, and he's dead. It takes a lot of time. Now, a lot of you will see people bypass floor 89. It's not difficult to do, like impossible, but it's not something that most people enjoy because there are so many different types of enemies. There's all the different types of enemies in gaming, and there are also all the different elements. So personally, I built a mage just for fighting this room, and I also built a mage just for fighting the human enemies in the next room. It's up to you whether or not you want to do that, but these enemies hit really hard. Blocking, you saw that it took down 1000%. And look, it's almost killing me now. You can stun them by using seismic balls if you would like to. You could also throw Spear of Victory at them to turn them into a snowman if you have it. Those are skills that you may or may not have access to, or may or may not want to put on your skill bar. And hello, viewers. Thanks for joining. So this room is the room that challenges people for the first time. Seismic Fall is great if you know the demons are going to stay in kind of one spot, but I don't mess around with that. I just go straight for them with volleyballs. You notice it just totally messed up their day. However, volleyballs can be stunned. You can be knocked out of it, so don't expect for every cast to be flawless. Especially if there's 2 or 3 enemies attacking you at the same time, you're not going to have a good day. They're going to rip right through your defense and hit you really hard, and then you're going to be dead. So kind of pull them apart a little bit. Walk around, try to get one by itself after it attacks, then cast your skill. This room's easy. Knock this guy out. You can grab the speed pickup. You can ignore the goblins trying to kill you. Those guys are down. Now, when that shield guy goes underground, you can wait for him to have the blue shield, and then you can stun him out of any ability that it's using just by casting holy balls. Alternately, you can just run behind him, as you noticed. It's really easy to damage him if you get behind him. I want that hairdo, by the way. That'd be awesome. Now watch this. When they throw that whatever at you, you can actually block from it. You face them and put up your shield, it'll keep you from getting knocked back. Now in this room, there is an offensive buff. I don't know what that first one that I just picked up is, but this one increases your damage. Usually he doesn't attack you, so just walk right behind him and cast your skill. And ta-da! Awesome. Again, I have higher attack power than most people would because of my level and because of my buffs, but that's kind of the point, right? You want to play a character that's strong. I also have a few more prestiges than most people would, obviously more than new players, but the stun crusher. You see how that last hit was about 11 mil? The first one was not 11 mil. Watch. That was 1.6, so it multiplied it by almost 10. That's what I'm talking about. Even though these guys are dying in like a hit or two, they're still going to take massive damage if you have this build. All you need is Stun Crusher. You're going to really see big numbers, and easily too. Run away! Just so you know, you could buff the Sacred Song at the beginning of this level, right where you stand, and it'll be in effect throughout most of this level, so you can't get one-shotted easily from the light. Whee! There we go. This room's not so bad if you stick to one wall and you break down those goblin pillars. Holy Balls does a great job of that. Also, at the back part of this room, in that little red crate, is an attack power-up. Buff yourself however you want to buff. Grab that bad boy and have fun. Don't block from me, that's not fair. And look at that, it just ate right through his shield. Because it hit behind him, it hits kind of, like I said, to the left and the right of that ability. Oh, come back here. Don't run away from me. Let's see if I can stun him. You'll notice that this guy gets stunned because his health just falls. Voila. He's down. I would say with lower level gear and buffs, it would probably take twice as many casts of these skills to defeat enemies, but considering I used it 3 times, twice as many is not a lot. 6. Especially if you're playing in a group and you're building your rage high, you're really going to see that enemies don't survive very well. They can hit you really hard, but you just block them. This guy is a great example. I really don't like this enemy because she does so much damage and really... This thing will kill me more often than the B100 boss. 100% of the time. And there you go. You notice when she used her roar skill, that's when she got stunned and her health disappeared. Alright, for this room I like to start it out by casting the defense buff. Just helps out with taking a little bit less damage. And then watch this. Walk right by these guys and then attack the purple pillars with your weapon. Ignore the goblins. They're going to throw their spears and the spears aren't even going to hit you. In fact, you could walk up to the goblins. Their spear shields don't hit. And from this point, cast your holy balls and kill these guys. Not gonna. Oh, he did let me hit him. Don't walk over there. Those enemies spawn. They're a big pain in the butt. Again, I don't have any goblin killer on. I don't have anything for small enemies. But as soon as it got stunned, they didn't last. If you're having a little bit of trouble damaging enemies and getting by them, you could put on your bless here instead. It's your preference. Something that I really like to do, show you. Since I have Seismic Slam, I can hit those guys either from the back like that or from another side and hit them straight through this wall. The good thing about this is kill them outright if you're really concerned about them, but if you hit them even one time, they don't use their fire AoE skill when you run up to them as often. So you can actually just make them start walking around and ignoring using that skill that does so much damage it kills you out of. Now if you had it, I actually put on just a regular spear for this area sometimes. Break those red or the green containers open. You could also use Spear of Victory, which sucks up all your AP like nothing, but will break the crates open so you don't have to deal with the enemies in them. You could also just use Seismic Slam, and if you don't have it, it's fine. Walk over here a little bit, get the enemies out, run away because they're horrible and they're really mean to you, and attack them through the wall if you'd like. You can also use Holy Balls, and it will stun them, but if they hit you while you're trying to cast it, it'll just knock you out of casting it. I'm doing this without the movement speed buff, so you can have an idea of how to handle them if you don't have that skill. Over here, run up, run between 2 of them and cast Holy Balls. Congratulations, you just defeated 2. You can shield bash these guys, by the way, to knock them away from you. Makes them a little bit easier to deal with. Alright. So right over there, there are enemies that will kill you. Wait till your AP refreshes if you need to. Buff yourself with Sacred Song. Give whatever extra debuff that you have, and watch the fun. So if you have Holy Ball and Seismic Ball, you want to stay on Holy Ball. You're going to run into the middle of the enemies, and then you're going to hook around left real quick to get behind the Wind Element guy and cast Holy Balls the moment that he hits the ground. Like this. And I didn't quite get behind him, but that's what you want to do. Feel free to use spears here if you have a problem. These guys are not easy to defeat. They were put here on purpose to keep you from getting to the boss. There you have it. They really hit hard if they get past your defense, even with block. We're almost there. Isn't this exciting? Okay, here's a pro tip for you. See these 4 guys? If they're alive at the end of this stage, and you can heal them by using Soothing Bullet, then you get to fight an optional enemy that's really powerful and a big pain in the butt. And if they're not all alive, you don't have to deal with them. Just don't. Don't save them. Unless you have people that can kill the person on the other level. Just now you gotta watch out for one attack from this guy. Oh, look at that. He got stunned. He didn't miss him. He's got a couple of basic attacks. The one that you have to be concerned about is when he starts spinning around and shoots out these giant blades. Like this. Watch. Face him and block. You can strafe while you're blocking, but face him so he doesn't just kill you outright. Obviously, if you're further away, it's better. And there you go. It didn't take too long. It wasn't too hard. So you'll know if you accidentally left somebody alive, because instead of it being just the endpoint, you'll have a class change over here, and you'll have a rope to leave the level right over here. If you're playing as a support cleric and you have Soothing Bullet, you can have a warrior that is decently skilled, decently geared, actually fight the enemy. As long as they know how to block, you can just spam Healing Bullet or Soothing Bullet as often as you can. Get far enough back so you don't get hit by the boss right off the bat, and just keep using that skill. You can make it through it. It's okay. It's okay to try. You're never going to get better if you don't. You could also put the skill wall down, and then the enemy stops running at you. He would be right here in the archway, like right around here. So you would walk up and cast wall, and it would land in front of you, and then he would just stop attacking. Then if you have a mage, you can use a number of abilities to kill the guy. Obviously, tap the Y button like it's nobody's business so you don't die off the bat. You'll notice the Greater Demon doesn't usually go for attacking right off the bat. If you don't run up to him, he'll leave you alone. He may fly in the air for a little bit, but then he'll land. He can fly right back in the air again, but it's okay, because we don't care. We can knock him out of the air by throwing a spear or something. Now he's stunned. Throw your Brute Buster that you've been hanging on to. Cast Holy Balls again, and you're already in super mode. You should have your bonus damage active now. And he's stunned again, and dead. Ta-da! You have successfully defeated the Greater Demon without having to deal with whatever that rage bar is. That's it. Again, it's going to take more hits on a lower level and less powerfully geared character, but Stun Crusher is your best friend. If you have Stun Duration up level 2, that window of opportunity where you see the stars over his head is going to last a lot longer. Then you could throw a Brute Buster if you have it, and a Demon Killer Spears if you have those as well. It really helps out a lot finishing off an enemy. You just have to cast Holy Balls as fast as possible every single time to apply stun, so you get that damage bonus as often as possible. Look at all the shiny things. They're so pretty. And I have a useful sword for wind! And Beast Hunter. That's okay. I want to also point out that a lot of the best buffs you can get will come on the gear that drops during this dungeon, so take a moment to look through, see if you have any red gemmed buffs. Undead Killer 7 is okay, Brute Buster 6 isn't. You can get 9 for both of those. Ambush attack level 8 is pretty good. That's the highest I've seen so far. Max HP is also nice. So yeah, just take a look at what you got, have fun, spend a moment decompressing after all that stuff. You earned it. Oh, look at that. I completed an order. Defeat the things. Thank you, person who I don't see, that is joining me on this epic quest of explaining how to Cleric. I'm going to do an offensive Cleric build next. So I'm taking down my stream for just a moment. I'll put it back up so you can see how to build your Cleric for all the deeps, as if what just happened wasn't enough. Thank you very much.